Welcome to Changing the Sales Game on webtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. My guests and I are always excited that you join us every week. So here's the deal. As you listen to the show, we hear that word change, and in this case, change your sales game, right? But change, we get that knot in our stomach and think, oh, how am I going to do this? So in the show notes, I have my gift for you, which is my communication style assessment. Kind of important because you're going to get two reports. The first report is your highest score, which is kind of just your natural communication superpowers. I would want to know that so you can leverage and lean in to those strengths. Flip side, your lowest score is when you're speaking with people who are 180 degrees different than you. Yikes. How is your message landing there? That to me is the more important report. So again, in the show notes, you'll see the link. Take the little quiz. It's a real quick one and you'll get those two reports. And I hope it serves you as you change your sales game. Now, my quote today is by the amazing Socrates. And Socrates said, "The secret to change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new." And to make your email marketing, right? We're going to talk about email marketing and marketing campaigns today, but to make your email marketing efforts successful, one of the major components in building is building your list, right? Your email list. Essentially, we're always doing two things. One, we're fueling our email marketing machine with leads and then working to improve the conversion rate on the machine through improving our messaging and leaning into relationship-based marketing messages. One of the more common ways to fill your list is by having a good lead magnet. My CSA, my communication style assessment, is a perfect example of that. Now, this is why I truly enjoy having marketing experts like my guest today on the show, because sales and marketing, they are two very different things. Yes, they are married. Yes, they belong together, but I am a sales expert. I am not a marketing expert. So I get to learn today too by talking to my amazing guests. So lead generation is critical for keeping our pipeline full so we can continue to connect and help our ideal clients using an effective sales process. That's where I come in, right? Leads come in, and if our sales process aligns with our marketing message, man, oh man, magic happens and sales come out on the back end. So who is my amazing guest today? She's my good friend, Amy Kuphal. Now, Amy is a lead generation and email marketing specialist and the founder of the Inbox Entrepreneur. Her monthly membership helps online business owners grow their audience, generate more leads, and of course, make more sales, all in a simple and a sustainable way. Now, Amy is a fierce advocate for anti-hustle entrepreneurship and is on a mission to help business owners create businesses that both look and feel good. So, Amy, thank you for being on the show. Second time you're on the show.
Very good. Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Connie. It's always like whenever we get a chance to get together and have conversations, it's always so much fun. I feel like I'm getting spoiled a bit being on both of your shows. So
I love it. So just as an FYI, everybody, Amy and I recorded my other show, Enlightenment of Change. Tune into that one, also fun. And I will put that in the show link. We really go into deep about the behaviors of marketing and why we market and all of that. So check that out. And then we're going to kind of launch from there with today's show. So let's quickly, Aim, can you help online entrepreneurs make lead generation and email marketing? You know what, before we do that, before we jump into that, just briefly, you have levels or steps in your 4-step process, right? In your marketing efforts. Can you give a quick overview? I know we dug deep into this in the other show, but maybe start there and then I'll ask my questions.
Yeah, I think that's a really good jumping off point because a lot of what I talk about, a lot of what I share on shows like this is really comes from the backbone of that 4-step process. And to give a little bit of history on it, I created this framework for myself at a point that I was working 50+ hour weeks, week over week, and I knew it wasn't sustainable. So I said, okay, my gift, I suppose, if we all have a gift that we're given, is really being able to take complex things and make them really simple. So I said, how can I use that idea to make all of the parts that have to go into running a successful business really, really simple and streamlined? So from that thought process, I came up with what I call the lead generation pyramid. So essentially, it is a 4-step process. So if we picture a pyramid, we'll start at the bottom, that base level. That's what we're going to call our audience. So in order to have a thriving business, we of course need people to know who the heck we are, what our offer is. That's going to be our audience. So how do we get more eyes and ears on us and us in relation to our offer? Once someone hears about us, hears about our offer, they are now a member of our audience. So they've moved into that base level of our pyramid. From there, as quickly as humanly possible or quicker, we want to get them onto our email list. So that's going to be level number 2 from the bottom, and that's called leads. So how do we move people from just seeing us, hearing about us, to now being on our email list or a lead? That's going to be through a really high converting lead magnet. So we're giving them that lead magnet. They're giving us their email address. Now they're at level 2, they're a lead. From there, this is where a lot of that magic starts to happen too. Once they're on our email list, how do we move them up to level 3, which is what I call aligned prospect? And that comes from writing emails that allow them to identify that they really like us, they're in line with our vibe, they're in line with our values, they can afford the thing that we offer, so our signature offer, they need our signature offer. And through that process too, we're working to eliminate objections. So once we've eliminated objections, they need what we have, they want what we have, and they can afford what we have, they are now considered level 3 aligned prospect. From there, once they've checked all those 4 boxes, we're going to move them up. We're going to make that sale. So we're going to give them that direct ask. Here's what I have. Do you want it? Yes or no? If it's a yes, they're at level 4 client and customer.
I love that. And everything. And I said this to a client recently and they were like, oh my God, that's brilliant. And I thought, oh yes, I'm brilliant. I'm not, right? So, but this is, I believe, business and just careers, right? Even because I have a lot of people who have careers, they work for an organization, but they're in marketing, right? And based on a discussion today. But anyway, I say to them, we have to make sure that, what was I going to say? Now I see senior moment, kids. This is live and happening. The lead generation, going through those 4 steps. Everything we do, I believe, has to be some type of system or systemization so that we can rinse and repeat it. Initially, you can't just rinse and repeat. You have to go through the struggles, testing. Does that work? Does that not work? I just said that didn't land well. Customer had no idea what I was talking about, whatever it might be, that we refine our messaging to the point where you said the lead magnet is now generating quality leads, meaning the people that I'm talking to are my ideal client. And my lead magnet is like, oh, I need that. So my CSA, my communication style assessment, is a great example of that. I have another lead magnet that's a sales audit. So that helps people dial into where are their deficits in the sales process. But everything has to be a process. And the clearer, like in your case, those 4 steps in the pyramid, I understand that. Now I can move forward, ask better questions, and answer your questions as the expert, right? If you're working with me to help me with my email campaigns. But now you're in a position where I understand what you're asking me, that we can get in the weeds really quick, refine that messaging, and then we're off to the races. So I think that 4-step approach, or that pyramid, just makes so much sense. That's clear to me.
Thank you. Yeah. And I love it because then it's like it gives you something tangible you can hold on to. Say, like, is the issue in my entire process that I don't have enough people seeing me? Is it that my messaging is unclear and we need to dial that in? Like you said at the top of this episode, making our conversions of that machine higher. So I think it gives you an area where month over month, you can say, I'm just going to tackle this one thing, improve this one thing, and see what that does on the output.
Yeah. Because if we're 99% there, but one piece of our process at the top of the process is broken, they're not getting lower in our process. They're not seeing our emails, or they don't think we're the right fit, even though we potentially might be. So again, that clarity of communication, in your case, is through the email, right? Mine is live, usually with the client. It's clarity of communication, no matter how you slice and dice it. So yeah, I love that. All right, now let's kind of shift in today's show. So typically you help online entrepreneurs and you help them make lead generation and email marketing simple, right? Just what you said. And you have a framework that you've developed to simplify that lead gen process through this email marketing for business owners. Can you briefly describe it, or is the pyramid that piece of it, or do we get deeper here? You follow me?
Yeah. So specifically what I would talk about is the framework is the 4-part sequence. So that's that lead generation pyramid. If we want to dial into that level 2 from the bottom, leads, that's where we're going. How do we get people from audience on the bottom to leads? And I will say this is a mistake that I see way more often than I wish I did, is that we have online business owners who are doing a ton of great work to build their audience. So they have 10,000, 20,000 followers on Instagram. And then I say, how big is your list? And they're like, my to-do list? And I'm like, no. Your email list. And they're like, yeah, but I have 10,000 on Instagram. That's where, for me, I go, oh my gosh, we need to be building our list yesterday. And if we didn't, we need to do it today, because at any given point, Instagram could get hacked. It could go down. I mean, we're basically building a business on rented space when we're using social media. I love social media. I think it has a purpose. But what I would say is, if people take nothing else, social media is for reach. Email is for revenue. So if you want to be popular, you want to have a lot of people looking at you, stay on Instagram. If you want to make a lot of money in your business, we need to get them onto your email list. And that's going to be through that lead magnet. So if you want, we can dial into a little bit of like what makes a highly effective lead magnet.
Yeah. I'd like that. Before you go on, I just want to comment, very important. And I like how you position the email list is to make money, Instagram, Facebook, like I'm on LinkedIn. That is to give us the views, if you will, right? And the make us authority figures, whatever it might be, that we're an expert in our field. But that doesn't always convert to sales. Additionally, they're constantly changing those algorithms so they could keep making money, which, hey man, it's about making, right? We're a capitalist society. We should be making money if we own a business. Otherwise, we're going to starve. But as those algorithms change, I can be left holding the bag, because all of those campaigns and effort could be for nothing. So the email list is where there are people that know us, like us, trust us, and they're going to keep following us. Or if it's not relevant to them anymore, unsubscribe. No hard feelings with that, because we really want people on our list that are engaged and find value in what we're sharing. So I wanted to comment, the algorithms can change, and we are not saying, what do you think? Is this going to work for you next, with your business effort? So just be really careful of that. All right, let's talk about the lead magnet and what a good lead magnet is, as well as truly the purpose of it.
Yeah. So the purpose of a lead magnet is really twofold. So the initial purpose of a lead magnet is we want to make it so attractive that someone is willing to submit their email address to get that thing. So number one, face value purpose of our lead magnet is to get someone on our email list. However, I would not stop there, because a secondary purpose of that lead magnet is to warm them up and take them 1, 2, 3 steps closer to being the perfect fit for our signature offer, or let them know that their signature offer isn't right for them. So it's really that thing that's going to be the steps. The way I describe it is, if we think about any sort of client or customer that comes into our world and thinks, hey, I jumped on their email list, maybe they're the right coach or consultant for me. Probably these people have about A to Z number of steps that they need to go through to get from where they are to where that desired transformation is. Our lead magnet should take them from A to B. So it needs to, in my eyes, it needs to be something that's quick and digestible. We don't want it to take them 30 days to go through our lead magnet, okay, because we want to kind of move the process forward quicker, but it needs to give them a clear win. So have them say, okay, Connie, I just went through your quiz and I got the win of, now I have a better understanding of my communication style. Wow, I just learned something that I didn't even know I didn't know. And I can attribute that now to you, so that when I'm ready to take steps B through Z, guess who I'm looking at? Because I've already learned from you for free.
Yeah. And it's funny because whenever I speak, especially during COVID, there was, summits out the wazoo. I felt like I was speaking 5-10 times a week. And I gave my CSA, my communication style assessment, as my gift, because I always want to leave people wanting more, for sure. But I really want to make an impact right now, like you said, where they walk away and think, holy smokes, I kind of knew that was my superpower, but now how do I leverage it? And then the one that I find people are, wow, I didn't know I had that big of a blind spot. To me, that becomes those aha moments where now we're in a position of power. You can choose to say, oh, it's a blind spot. What are you going to do? In my world, it's okay, I'm never going to be good at that skill. Who do I need to bring into my world to help me? Because I'm never going to be good at it. And even if I tried, it's going to take me years or hours or whatever of effort, not worth my time. So how can I, now that I understand what that deficit or blind spot is for self, how can I hire someone to help me with that? And now, bam, we're off to the races, making more money quicker. The other thing I just want to comment on why the lead magnet is so important. So I did all that speaking, and I remember probably about maybe the end of 2020, early 2021, I had done a series of webinars. My 5-step to the objectionless buyer is what it's about, how to get to the objectionless buyer in our sales process. And at the end, many people signed up for the program, my signature program. I didn't know them. And I'm like, hey, how did you know me? And they said, oh, I saw you speak a year ago. I've been following your podcast. I'm on your email list. I read your newsletter. And it was like you were talking to me today. So they stuck with me because they were the ideal client. It might have taken them a year and a half to buy from me because that was the opportunity that I presented, right? Doing my workshop. But that's the thing we're talking about. It's they know you before they even know you. And it was funny because they became good friends because we were, the values were the same. That's why they stuck with me and followed me. But if the CSA wasn't value added at the beginning, they would just unsubscribe, right? I don't want her stuff. It's useless to me. So that's kind of what we're talking about. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think the part that I want to put a little pin on based on what you just said is that your lead magnet should not be fluff. Okay. It shouldn't be just a simple checklist that someone could Google. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is that I don't want people to overstress their lead magnet. We need to put something out there to get leads. But we can refine it over time. But what I will say is more often than not, people are going to judge the value of your paid content based on the perceived value of your lead magnet. So if you're giving fluff, if you're, and I've gone through this unfortunately as on the client side, where I had a lead magnet for a business coach that I was considering. And I think it was like a 30-minute like VSL, so video sales letter. And so you watch the whole video. The entire video was about how great she was. And here's some testimonials saying I'm so great. And like, here's some, I got to the end of 30 minutes and went, I just wasted 30 minutes of my life. I literally, if I took a pencil out, I can't write down one additional thing I've learned. And then this person's like saying, but if you want to learn more, and if you want to learn all these great things, swipe your credit card here. And maybe they have a lot of good stuff behind the paywall, but I can't tell because I got no value, number one, from the lead magnet. And two, I actually feel frustrated because I just used half an hour of my own valuable time on fluff.
Yeah.
So we don't want to make our people feel like that. And I think over deliver, right? People feel like I don't want to give away too much for free. Over deliver. If we are knowledgeable business owners, we have decades of knowledge that can be put behind the paywall.
Yeah.
Give people a win with your lead magnet.
Yeah. And I just want to comment on that because I think 2 points I want to make. I have 4 decades, right, of experience. So every week, my assistant says to me, okay, I need 4 sales tips. And I swear to God, Amy, I go, is that a heavy lift for me? No, it's not. I have 4 decades of major tips in here. The problem, I have 4 decades of tips. So I go to her, I don't know. I go, give me a topic because I don't even know where to begin because there's so much information. And then what I do, and I caution everybody with this, so please listen carefully to what I'm saying. I go to ChatGPT, I put in whatever the topic is, and then they spit out blah, 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 blah. And it's blah, 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 in my opinion. But I think, I like the concept in this one, whatever they sent me, right? And then I take it and then I build the 4 quotes from there. I don't use their information for my quotes because you could Google it. You don't need Connie Whitman to give you those tips. So what was in that topic or the way they presented that I thought I want to dig in on this, and that's going to be my series of the 4 sales tips where I could dig in a little bit and give value added or action steps within those tips, not just the fluff. So even in my newsletter, I try to give or over deliver because we can chat GPT anything we want. What makes me different is that I don't take it and publish it. I make it my own. So that was the first thing I wanted to say. And then the second thing with the lead magnet, you mentioned that the person talked all about them. We're being taught, Amy, I'm going to share because I'm not a marketing expert. So I take a lot of marketing classes and I talk to a lot of marketing people so I can educate myself. Not that I ever want to do it myself because I don't love to write, right? Another blind spot for me. But what happens is we're being told, but tell your story. People have to get to know you. Yes, that's true, right? They should know my values and that I'm in integrity all the time and all of those things. But I can illustrate that by what I'm offering or how I'm sharing information versus telling you how great I am. Figure out how great I am through the good stuff I'm offering. And I want to make sure everybody heard that. Stop throwing the spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. It's never about us, in my opinion. It's always about the client. So how can we flip that script? Include the essence of us, but give the client what they need. So that I just wanted to comment on those two things that I think are critical, at least me as the business owner, hearing what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. It's like even thinking about like, even when I tell my own story, always thinking about how can I frame this? And even if it's as simple as something like, if you're XYZ, I bet you can relate. I was working 50 plus hours a week. So if you're overstressed and overworked in your job, I bet you can relate what I'm going to tell you right now. Yep. So even from the start saying, how can I share my story in a way that don't assume that our people are going to listen to our story and understand why it's related to them. I think we got to be pretty explicit about saying, this is why I'm telling you this, because I think this is going to help you in this way.
It's fascinating, Aim. See, sales and marketing, they really are married. I just did a class this week with one of my clients, and this module was step 2, which is building rapport. So I have them do a value statement. I have a worksheet to help them because we don't know how to write about ourselves, let alone speak about ourselves, right? Because it's bragging, if you will. Anyway, at the end, one of the executives who new to the organization comes through my training as well. And she says, I have a question for you. I never think it should be about me, but I do think I have to sell myself. So what do you recommend? Where's the balance? And so what I did is I took another, she hadn't submitted hers yet, or I hadn't reviewed hers, but somebody else had. I says, let me read theirs. And I'm going to show how they had the fun facts about them, but how I massaged it. So it really became about the value to the client. And I read through and she went, wow. So it's about us. Like the tippy top of the iceberg is about us, but then how that relates to the client, it's all about the client. So this is my superpower. Like you said, I know what you're saying. I worked 50 hours a week. I have a child. I was on burnout. That's not okay. Here's some of this. And then you give real ideas how to fix that, right? Or to change that situation. They're going to look at you like, oh my God, she's me. I have a kid. I'm working 50 hours. And oh my God, I love her solutions. It was the same thing. I took the value statement about the person, but I spun it. So this is the value the client gets. It should never be about us, but we have to let people know how we can help. And that's the idea with the lead magnet and then getting on the email list and the importance of those two pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's good too. And especially I think about as we continue to grow and get more quote unquote successful as business owners, I think it can be really easy for people that haven't reached that level yet to say, oh, well, it must have been easy for her. Maybe she came from money and like she's making 6-7 figures right now. Maybe it was overnight. So to be able to share our story and say, and for myself, I was a single mother. I was burning through $1,000 a month of my savings to get my business going for 2 years.
Yeah.
Here's the things that I had to change. Here's how I changed them. And here's how I now help people like you do the same. It makes us relatable.
Yeah. We got to be relatable. Agree 100%, right? It's the know, like, trust factor. All right. Now we're talking about lead magnets. Everybody's going,
circle back.
What is a good lead magnet? Share it with me. What are some of you mentioned a couple, and you mentioned the one bad lead magnet, right? Watching 30 minutes of a video of how great I am. Boring, right? What makes a really good lead magnet where people are signing up left and right?
Yeah, so I think it is. It's really looking at that customer journey from start A to Z, thinking about, can we break that down? So what are the milestones of that person that's coming into your world? We know we're experts in what we do. What are the milestones that they're going to have to achieve from when they first come to us through when they if we ask them to wave a magic wand and what is your dream desired outcome? What are the steps that need to happen from where they are to get to that absolute dream outcome? Let's break it down. Through that lead magnet, let's solve one of them, obviously beginning one. So A to B, B to C, how do we solve that in a way that they feel like they got a great win? The other thing I do want to stress about lead magnets, because I see this a lot, is don't overthink the container of the lead magnet. A lot of times I see people get really tripped up. Well, I heard quizzes are really successful right now. Well, I heard video sales letters are really successful, or I heard, I don't know, private podcasts are a big one recently. I heard that was a thing. And really thinking that that container is the thing that's going to make their lead magnet effective, when honestly that should be the afterthought. It should be, what is the material that I want to deliver to this prospect? And then what container makes the most sense? Is it something that would be better that they see? So having a video would be better. We're thinking about that client. Like, I work with a lot of business women, men and women really, but they're on the go. So private podcasts are really effective because they can listen in between things where they're not going to probably sit down and watch an hour of something.
Yeah.
So thinking about, again, we share our story with the client in mind. Create your lead magnet with the client in mind. What do they need to know, and what's the most effective way for them to learn it?
Yeah, and break it down into small bites. The other thing you said before, and I want to circle back to, is people are afraid, but I don't want to give everything away. And I remember someone said to me, because like when I give my corporate clients, I create manuals, and most time I've had training, it's very cryptic. They have like a topic and then blank space for you to take notes in, where I give all of the information typed out in a manual. And my clients say, but aren't you giving everything away? Listen, you want to steal my stuff, steal my stuff. You're never going to be able to deliver it the way I can, because I created the manual. I know the stories that are going to impact the learning. You don't. So you want to take a manual, it's black and white on a page, that's not going to help you become a better salesperson per se, right? So again, stop worrying about, are people going to take my stuff, because they're not going to be able to deliver it like you, because it was yours. So again, that we try to be something we're not by stealing or looking at, not stealing, it's a bad word, but looking at other people's stuff. But that's their stuff. That's not my stuff. And the other thing, I don't know if you get asked this, Aim. I get asked, well, what's your competition doing? I go, I don't know. And they go, well, who is your competition? I don't know. I don't care, because I don't want to be like them. I know my zone of genius, and I know how I want to show up. I don't really care. Now, do I keep myself relevant and well-versed? Yes. Do I care what my competitors are doing? No, because then we backslide and I start using their rhetoric and language, and then that's not mine anymore.
Yeah. So not to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but you just flagged something that I think was really, really important for listeners to understand, because it was something that I was thinking about a lot recently as well. Is that I'm in a group of other business owners. It's a Facebook group, and we all kind of work together to bounce ideas off of each other and things like that. Just this last week, one of the women in the group posted this question. She said, I just found out that one of my competitors, so first of all, she uses the word competitors, which I always think we need to be really mindful of our language, okay, because it's reflecting something. So she said, I just noticed that one of my competitors added herself onto my email list. Should I unsubscribe her? And I was like, whoa, like I had to like filter my own thoughts before I responded, because my initial thoughts were like, ah. But I composed myself a little bit, put together a thoughtful response. And I said, you know what? I said, I want to say this with full love. I said, but I just want you to note your language. I said, you use the words competitor instead of using the words someone else in my niche, someone else in my industry. I said, we're using the word competitor when really there's so many people doing what we do, and it's more about how do you position yourself? What is your brand values? What is all of this? And no, definitely don't remove them from the email list. I said, at anything, I said, I would, if it were me, I would directly reach out and say, hey, I just noticed you added onto my email list. We're in the same space. What a cool opportunity to collaborate.
Yep.
Potentially.
Yep.
But it is interesting. Like you said, it's like we think if we give all this stuff away for free, people are going to steal it. We think we have competitors. When I honestly do, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think that there's competitors. I think there's other people in our space that we can learn from and that we can collaborate from, and there is enough to go around.
There's always enough business to go around, right? Isn't that funny? So yeah, just again, no judgment with this, guys, right? It's really just sharing perspective and changing that frame of reference. So you're coming from a place of abundance, not poverty, right? That there's not enough business to go around, and where if there potentially could be some synergy where we could support each other. I have a colleague here in the East Coast too. She does cold calling sales training. Not my world. I don't believe in cold calling, because my world, that just doesn't work, right? but who she works with, the companies that she works with, she's brilliant at it. So if some of my clients say, no, we really want cold calling, it's not my zone of genius, I hand off to her. If they want a little bit more, now we're in front of the client, what does that process look like, right? She gets them in the door with the cold calls, and then she can bring me in. So we're in the same space. We're both teaching sales, but from a very different vantage point. And I could use her in a good way. I mean that, but I could share business with her because I don't want to do that. I that's not my philosophy, and there's no judgment on that. It's just not what I'm good at. So yeah, I love that. I love that, Aim. We're out of time, but I do have one more question. Once we create these lead magnets, where do we put them and how do we get them out there so that we can leverage it again to help build our email list?
Now, Connie, we've talked twice. I am the queen of make things simple. You will hear me more time than anything say one lead magnet, one this, one this. The only time I do not say one is when that question gets asked, where do I put my lead magnet? My answer is put that lead magnet everywhere, okay? It should be number one, any social media bios, put the link to that lead magnet there. Anytime you're guesting on a podcast, talk about your lead magnet. A lot of times at the end, they'll say, what's your free offer? You can talk about your lead magnet there. The big rule of thumb for me is I would say, think about where do your dream clients hang out? Where do they frequent? And how can you get your lead magnet in front of them in that space? And the story that I want to share for this is when I started out in business, Scott, over like 15 years ago, I was in the fitness and wellness space. I was catering directly to moms. So moms of young children that were looking to get back in shape after having their babies. I knew they were going to our local library. So I made an 8x11 flyer, talked a little bit about my lead magnet, put a QR code on there, and put that up at the grocery store bulletin boards, in the library bulletin boards, so that it was simple for them. They could scan it on their phone and they could download my lead magnet, because you want to catch them where they are. So where are your people? How can we get it there? And how can we make it super simple for them to grab it in that space that they're in?
Yeah. Everywhere is the answer. Get it everywhere. I have it like in my show notes. I have it here for sure. Whenever I speak, it's part of my bio. I mean, I have it everywhere. And the other thing I include, obviously, is because I have 2 podcasts, which are real good resources of information, but that helps me get sponsors. And again, it helps build that know, like, trust factor, because I'm talking, right? It's unfiltered, if you will. So you see the real me on these podcasts. That gives people the vibe of, do I want to hire this chick? Or, oh no, she talks way too fast. My people will think she's crazy, right? Whatever, wherever you fall in that realm, but hire me, because this is what you get, right? So the lead magnet gets them in front of you to be able to nurture and prove that you are the person that has the solution for their needs. Aim, thank you so much. You're just a gem. I love dealing with you. I love simple, because life is complicated enough. So simple certainly works for me. Guys, if you are looking for more, please reach out to Amy. Her email is amy@amykuphal.com. I will put that in the show notes. Kuphal is Kuphal. Website, amykuphal.com. And you do have a gift, amykuphal.com/masterclass. But can you tell everybody what that is? Here's her lead magnet. She's going to tell you about it now.
Just like we talked about, but look at how great Connie is. She just set me right up there, a little layup. So basically, the lead magnet that I have at this point, it's a masterclass, like you mentioned. It's called Discover How to Generate More Leads and Make More Sales from Your Email List while Reducing Your Work Hours by 42%. Okay. So this is where we're going to go dial deep. It's a 45-minute it might be 60 at this point, 60-minute masterclass, where we're going to really dial a little bit deeper into that lead generation pyramid. And we're going to specifically focus on level number 3, and that's that aligned prospect. So how do we make this whole process simple, and how do we write emails that are really going to convert? And the reason why I want to stress that this is so simple is because it is getting more and more time consuming and expensive to acquire leads. So we don't want to just get more clients and customers by trying to get more leads. We need to, one, get more leads, but also figure out how can we put the systems in place to convert a higher amount of those aligned prospects into buying clients and customers. And this entire masterclass is going to walk you through the full process on how to do that.
Yeah, it's always quality over quantity for me. The quality is what gets us there. Go a mile deep, not a mile wide, right? And guys, I downloaded the masterclass, and I'm going to take it because I know I have blind spots when it comes to marketing. Again, not my zone of genius. I trust Amy, and I want to learn from her. So I too am going to take the mini class just so, but I could go back. See, I'm already connected to Amy. You have to do that now. So get on her email list. Like I did, and you could start to see some of the really significant and interesting ideas that she's sharing to help us on our journey, again, of getting in front of that right client. So thanks again, Amy. And also, last, guys, we did record the show on my other podcast, Enlightenment of Change. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well. So you have really 4 items that you could connect with Amy, again, through my podcast, certainly, through download that link that she's going to send, that's going to be in the show notes, and take that masterclass. And of course, afterwards, if you have any specific questions, please email Amy. She is amazing to hang out with and chat with, and lovely. So if you have questions, please ask. She will definitely step up for you. I only have cool people on the show. So Amy, thank you again. Thank you for that very generous lead magnet. I so appreciate that. And I love you. You're fabulous. You're just a fabulous human.
Thank you so much. Equal. Right back at you. Absolutely.
It's a love fest now, kids. It's a love fest.
Stay tuned.
Thanks again. You're so cute. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you join us weekly as we question, build, and discover together, no matter where you are in changing your sales game. My guests and I hope our topics, our ideas, our stories, our strategies are inspiring for you to take that next step to change your sales game. You're the only one who could do it. We can teach you, we can share, and we could strategize, but you have to actually take the action. Information's a beautiful thing. If you do nothing with it, it's simply information. So what is your call to action? Download the mini course and see where it takes you. That one step, trust me, guys, it's like that magic wand Amy talked about. It really does open doors and inspires you to take that next step and the next step and the next step. But you have to start somewhere. So download that lead magnet that we talked about today and that Amy is sharing. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in to Changing the Sales Game with me, your host on webtalkradio.com. I love you. I am inspired by you. And I truly am honored to have you on this journey of changing your sales game, and that you trust myself and my guests every week. Enjoy, everyone. Have a great one. And the call to action, do something differently. And I promise you magic happens on the back end. I love you. And I'll see you next week. Have a great one, everybody.